I am 78 years old, and tonight the silence in my home is deafening. My name is Martha. If you saw me at the local community center or the grocery store, you would see a woman who has made it. I am well dressed. I live in a beautiful, paid off home, and I have a family tree that looks perfect on paper. I have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. But here is the truth that keeps me awake at night. I am 78, and I am a stranger to the very people I spent my life providing for. My grandchildren are polite when they see me. They send the obligatory thank you text for the gifts I send, but they don't know me, they don't call me, and they certainly don't visit unless it is a holiday and their parents have made it a requirement. I'm sharing this because I see so many of you mothers, grandmothers, and career-driven women falling into the exact same trap I did. We are told that success means giving our children and grandchildren a better life than we had. We think that if we provide the college funds, the lavish Christmas mornings, and the fancy family vacations, we are securing our place in their hearts. But I am 78, and I have realized far too late that you cannot buy a seat at the table of someone's heart. You have to earn it with your presence, not your purse. I spent 20 years being the generous grandmother, but I never did the work to be the connected grandmother. I want to take you back to when my oldest grandson, Daniel, was born. I was 56 and still at the height of my career as a real estate broker. I was busy. I was important. I remember my daughter asking if I could come over and stay for a few days to help with the new baby. I told her, honey, I can't take the time off right now, but I'll send a check so you can hire a top-tier night nurse. I thought I was being helpful. I thought I was being a super provider, but looking back, I wasn't being helpful. I was being absent. I chose the deal over the delivery. I chose to send money instead of sending myself. That was the first brick in the wall I built between myself and my grandson. As the years went by, I continued that pattern. I became the fun grandma. I was the one who took the whole family to Hawaii every summer. I paid for the flights, the 5-star hotel, and the expensive dinners. I'd sit on the balcony with my phone, watching them play in the ocean, feeling a sense of pride. I thought, look at what I've given them. But I wasn't in the water with them. I wasn't the one teaching them how to build a sandcastle or listening to their stories about school. I was the sponsor of their joy, not a participant in it. I thought those big, expensive weeks would create a lifetime of loyalty. But you don't build a relationship on a 1-week vacation once a year. You build it in the small, boring gaps of daily life, the gaps I was too busy to fill. By the time Daniel was 16, the great-grandma persona started to fail. I bought him a car for his 16th birthday, a beautiful, safe, expensive SUV. I expected him to be thrilled. I expected him to want to come over and show me how he decorated it. He said, thank you, of course, but he didn't visit. He used that car to drive to his friends' houses, to his practice, to his life, a life that didn't include me. I realized that by always giving him things, I had taught him that I was a source of things, not a source of wisdom or comfort. I had trained him to look at my hands to see what was in them, rather than looking at my face to see who I was. I remember my 75th birthday. It was a beautiful party at a country club. My grandchildren all stood up and gave speeches. They talked about my success. They talked about how I was a strong woman who provided so much for the family. But as I sat there, I realized they were giving a eulogy for a bank account, not a tribute to a grandmother. There were no stories about the time I comforted them. No stories about a secret we shared or a joke only we understood. They didn't have those stories because I hadn't stayed still long enough to create them. I had been too busy doing to ever just be. Now, at 78, the silence is my constant companion. I find myself wanting to call Daniel, who is now 22 and living in another city, but I don't know what to say. I don't know his favorite music. I don't know what he's afraid of in this changing world. When we do speak, it's a 3-minute conversation filled with "I'm fine" and "How are you?" I have millions in the bank, and I would give every cent of it to be the person Daniel calls when he's had a bad day. Instead, I am the person he calls when he needs a down payment. I am the emergency fund, not the home base. If you are in your 50s or 60s, please look at your grandchildren today. Don't look at them as a legacy or an investment. Look at them as people who need your time more than your money. Stop looking for the perfect gift and start looking for the perfect hour of doing absolutely nothing together. Because I am 78, and I am here to tell you, the money will stay, but the people will go if you don't give them a reason to stay. Don't let your success become your solitude. The most painful realization of being 78 and alone is the understanding that you cannot back pay a relationship. I spent decades thinking that my absence was an investment that I could settle later with a larger check or a more expensive gift. But the human heart doesn't keep a ledger like that. When I finally retired and reached out to my grandchildren, I found that they had already filled the grandmother-shaped hole in their lives with other people, teachers, neighbors, or the parents of their friends. I was standing at the finish line of a race. I thought we were running together, only to realize I had been running in the wrong direction the entire time. I remember a few months ago, I tried to have my youngest granddaughter, Chloe, stay with me for a weekend. She's 14 now. I had planned everything. I bought the most expensive theater tickets, made reservations at a 5-star restaurant, and even bought her a new tablet to use while she was here. I thought this was how we would bond. But the entire weekend was a lesson in my own failure. At dinner, I realized I didn't know what she liked to eat. I tried to talk to her about her school, but I realized I didn't even know the names of her friends. She spent the entire time on the tablet I had bought her. When I finally asked her to put it away so we could talk, she looked at me with genuine confusion and asked, "About what, Grandma?" That question haunted me for weeks. About what? We had no shared history. We had no inside world. I had been so busy being the woman who sent things that I never became the woman she could talk to. I realized that by buying her that tablet, I was once again doing exactly what I had always done, providing a distraction so I wouldn't have to face the fact that I didn't know how to be present. I was 78 years old, and I was terrified of a 14-year-old girl because I didn't know how to connect with her without a price tag involved. I see women my age who don't have a fraction of my wealth, and yet their phones never stop ringing. My friend Clara lives in a tiny 2-bedroom apartment. She worked as a librarian her whole life. She doesn't have a vacation home or a trust fund to leave behind. But her grandchildren are at her house every Tuesday after school. They don't go there because she has the latest gadgets. They go there because Clara knows how to listen. She knows their secrets. She knows who they are when the rest of the world isn't watching. I used to look down on Clara's simple life, but now at 78, I realized She is the one who is truly wealthy. She invested her time while it was still cheap, and now she is reaping a harvest of love that I could never afford to buy. If you are a grandmother today, or if you are a mother who is currently grinding to give your children everything, I am begging you to stop and look at what you are actually giving them. Are you giving them a lifestyle, or are you giving them a life? Your grandchildren will not remember the brand of shoes you bought them. They will not remember the fancy hotels. They will remember the way you looked at them when they told you a story. They will remember the feeling of your hand in theirs. They will remember the boring afternoons where you just sat together and watched the birds. Those are the moments that build the bridge to the future. Without them, you are just a woman with a bank account and a very quiet house. The hardest part of being 78 and alone is the ego. It is hard to admit that your success was actually a distraction. It is hard to tell your children, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I've spent the last year trying to swallow my pride. I've started calling my grandkids without an agenda. I don't offer them money. I don't talk about my achievements. I just ask them, what made you smile today? Sometimes they answer, and sometimes the conversation is still awkward. But I am learning that I have to earn their trust back, one small, unproductive minute at a time. I am planting a garden in the winter of my life, hoping that maybe, just maybe, I'll see a few flowers bloom before I go. I want you to take a walk through your home today. Look at the photos on your walls. Are you in them? Or are you just the one who paid for the frame? Look at your call logs. When was the last time you had a conversation that wasn't about a holiday plan or a financial matter? If you feel that distance growing, don't wait. Don't tell yourself you'll fix it when you retire or when the next big project is done. Time is a thief that never gives back what it steals. I am 78, and I would trade every single asset I own for one more chance to be the grandmother who stayed instead of the grandmother who sent a check. Success is not measured in the things you can buy. It is measured in the people who want to be near you when you have nothing left to give. Don't build a kingdom of stuff and find yourself sitting on a lonely throne. Be the grandmother who is there. Be the woman who knows the heart of her family, because at the end of the road, the only thing that will matter is the love you shared, not the money you saved. Thank you for listening to my story. It isn't easy to admit that at 78, I am still learning the most basic lesson of life. If this hit home for you, if you realize you've been choosing providing over presents, please leave a comment. I want to hear from you. We need to remind each other that our time is the most valuable gift we have. Like this video to help it reach the women who are still in the hustle. And subscribe if you want to join me in finding a more intentional way to age. Now, please, put down your phone. Call your grandchild. Don't buy them anything. Just tell them you're thinking about them, and then just listen.